Chapter 1: The Return. The sky was illuminated by a magnificent spectacle of flashing lights and loud music while the spacecraft, Elias, was penetrating the Earth's atmosphere. The return was a triumph for the astronaut, Dr. Michael Brown, who spent the last 6 months on a secret scientific mission in outer space. This mission was aimed at exploring a mysterious region of the universe known as the Big Void. No one really knew what was there, but the government thought that it might be the key to understanding the secrets of the universe. When the craft landed safely, a large crowd of journalists, scientists, and officials was waiting for Dr. Michael Brown. He was greeted with a huge ovation, but no one noticed the slight change in his eyes, the strange sparkle that was not there before his flight. He was immediately taken to the research center for further examinations and interrogations about what he found in space. Chapter 2: The First Appearance. A week after his return, Dr. Michael Brown began to feel strange changes in his body. Strange dreams haunted him at night, incomprehensible whispering sounds filled his mind. He began to feel a sharp pain in his head and the appearance of strange marks on his skin. He did not understand what was happening to him, but he had a strong feeling that something had returned with him from space. One day, he woke up to find himself surrounded by blood. His hands were covered with traces of sunken wounds. There was a corpse lying on the ground. He could not remember anything about how this happened, but he was terribly horrified by himself. He begins to realize that there is a strange entity inside him, controlling his actions and pushing him towards violence. Chapter 3: The Spread. Dr. Michael Brown was not the only one who was affected by this strange entity. Reports began to appear of other people with similar symptoms throughout the city. The strange entity was transmitted from person to person by simple touch or even through the air. It was spreading rapidly, turning people into unconsciously aggressive beings, seeking only to destroy everything around them. The situation quickly became catastrophic. The government began to declare a state of emergency and try to contain the situation, but the entity was clever and evasive. He was always finding new ways to spread and dominate. His goal was clear: the elimination of mankind. Chapter 4: The Confrontation. While chaos was sweeping the Earth, a team of scientists led by Dr. Lisa Wilson, Dr. Michael Brown, former colleague, began to look for a way to stop this entity. They had theories on how to deal with him, but time was running out quickly. They knew that Dr. Michael Brown was the key to understanding this entity, so they decided to capture him and subject him to examinations. They finally managed to find him in an abandoned bunker on the outskirts of the city. Dr. Michael Brown was strongly resisting, but they managed to calm him down and take him to the laboratory. There, they began to conduct a series of experiments to figure out how to eliminate the entity. They discovered that the entity could be isolated and disposed of using a combination of chemicals and radiation. Chapter 5: The Final Decision. While they were working on finding a cure, Dr. Michael Brown was talking about voices he had heard in space, voices warning of a mysterious force seeking revenge on humanity. Those voices were the source of the entity, and it was seeking to control the Earth. With the growing threat, scientists were forced to make a difficult decision. They had to use the remedy on a large scale, even if it meant sacrificing some people. Dr. Michael Brown knew that he had to be the first to undergo treatment, and that he probably would not survive. But he was ready to sacrifice for the sake of saving humanity. Chapter 6: The End. On the big day of treatment, Dr. Michael Brown was placed in an isolated room and the scientists began to implement their plan. The process was painful and difficult, but they eventually managed to isolate and destroy the entity. As the entity faded, the symptoms began to gradually disappear from all those affected. Peace returned to the land, but the price was high. Many people lost their lives, and Dr. Michael Brown was one of them. But his memory remained as a hero, the man who returned from space with a deadly burden and saved humanity from an inevitable end. The research center was named after Dr. Michael Brown in honor of his sacrifice. And his story remained to be told to posterity, reminding them that even in the depths of space there is always something to be wary of. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, The Evil Shadows, and activate the bell button to receive notifications of every new video we present to you. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Stay well, fans of The Evil Shadows.